friends, come on in. So, I got a little bit of a juicy one for you today, okay? So, you 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 might be mad at me for saying this. You might not be mad. You might have to clutch your pearls. You might have to hold on to those edges. But you know how we always say you shouldn't have to change yourself to get into a relationship? Like, you can just be yourself and find love and have whatever love you want because the person who's right for you should love you for who you are. You know how we say that? That's actually not true, friends. You do have to change yourself to get into a relationship, especially if you've been struggling for love or struggling in the romance department. You keep running into the same issues over and over and over. It's been years since you've been into a relationship, or you get in relationships and they never work out for you. Like, friend, you do have to change yourself. And here's what I mean, all right? Whenever we have an intention for anything, whatever that is, for money, for love, for health, every single intention that we have requires an identical identity. All right? So, what do I mean by that? Here's the thing. All of those statements that you say to yourself, all those I am statements, if those aren't in alignment with the intention you set for yourself, if your identity, if the way you see yourself doesn't match with the intention that you set for yourself, guess what, friend? You're either not going to manifest the intention that you want, or it'll kind of come, but it'll be real inconsistent. You won't be able to keep it, right? Sounds a lot like your relationships, perhaps. But if you believe that you aren't worthy of love, if you believe you're not good enough, if you believe that you aren't attractive enough, if that is how you see yourself, those statements, those I am statements, I am not worthy, I am not good enough, I will never find love, like all those things are your identity. That is what you believe about yourself. And so in order for you to have the love that you want, the love that you desire, the love that you require, you got to change your identity. You got to change who you are. If the person whose identity you've been assuming previously does not have love, right? If you've been saying, I don't trust people, love doesn't work out for me, if that is your identity, that is the thing that has to change in order for love to be able to come into your life and stay, okay? Oh, y'all are coming through with these questions and comments and such. I didn't even realize y'all were here. You know, I just got on the soapbox and started talking, right? So, okay, I see this. You are doing this on today. Yes, God. Oh, yes, friend. Come on through, okay? Edges. Hold on to them, okay? Here's the other thing, right? We will say that we want love, but our actions are saying that we want something else. We'll say that we want people to treat us the way that we want to be treated or the way that we deserve to be treated, but we don't treat ourselves that way. People don't treat you the way you want to be treated. They treat you the way that you treat yourself, which also goes back to your identity, okay? The person that you say you are, all right? That person, that identity, those I am statements are what is creating the inevitability around the life that you live right now. So said another way, once you become the person who has the love that you want, then the love that you want becomes inevitable, okay? So first we have to shift the identity. We have to change the way that we see ourselves. We have to decide. And this isn't like a thing that you have to work for or earn. You don't got to go and lose more weight first. You don't got to go and make more money first. You don't got to, go get another job or do all these things that we think we have to do, which is really our way to procrastinate because we don't believe we're worthy in the first place. So we think we have to earn it by doing some other stuff first to become worthy. But then when we go on that journey to try to become the thing and we get the thing that we thought we needed to be worthy, then we still don't feel like we're good enough. That's because it was some bullshit in the first place, okay? However, when you decide, okay, to shift that identity, when you decide to be the person who's worth the love that you want, when you decide to live life as that version of yourself, when you decide to channel the part of yourself that is lovable, that is worthy, that is good enough, that is when you allow yourself to have love. And so for a lot of us, we experience this intermittently. Like if you've ever been in a relationship or had love or whatever, right? We've all had some sort of experience with love, even if it was having a crush at a distance, perhaps. But especially when you've allowed love into your life, you might realize that there were times where you also felt good about yourself, right? Maybe you had just moved or just graduated from school or just got a new job, because here's facts, right? Side facts, but like cool facts most people don't know. We're all most likely to find love when we're in a period of transition, okay? And here's why. Well, first, other transitions, right? So someone was just born in your family, someone just passed away, you just moved to a new place, right? You just, like I said earlier, just graduated, any of that, right? All those are life transitions, and they can be major or minor, but whenever we're in a state of transition, we are more likely to find love, because in that space, we are out of our comfort zone. We are out of our day-to-day habits, rituals, the environment that reinforces the identity we had before. All right. And so when we get out of that comfort zone, those self-sabotaging patterns that we lived in previously that were operating inside that comfort zone, they don't operate anymore outside of that area. Who we were when we were at home, who we were when we were at that old job, when we were still in school, whatever it is, when we go through that change, it also allows us to easily, without as much resistance, decide that we can be somebody different, because now we see this new opportunity, this new experience as a new life that we have to now get used to, which means we have temporarily freed ourselves from that old identity, from those old patterns that kept us from having the love that we want. So in either case, we allowed ourselves to change our identity. We allowed ourselves to see ourselves differently and to see ourselves in a way that didn't diminish our power or our worthiness or our lovability. And that's when love usually comes to us, right? So anytime you found love, that's what happened. You allowed yourself to get out of your own way and to stop repeating or keeping alive that old identity. And anytime you struggle with love, it's because you've decided that you aren't worth it. You've decided that you aren't lovable. So again, the way that we allow ourselves to manifest our relationship intentions is by having an identity that is analogous to that intention. Every single intention you have requires you to have a synonymous identity. Because if you want $1 million, but you don't see yourself as a millionaire, you're not going to do the work it takes to get there. You're going to say no to the opportunities that bring money to you. You're going to do everything you can to sabotage it, and not even like on a conscious level, right? On a subconscious level, we won't let ourselves do things that we don't believe we are. Okay? We don't let ourselves do things that we don't believe we are. If you don't believe this is you, you won't do it, even if it's something you actually want, because you haven't changed that part of your identity yet. So that's what you have to do. Now the question becomes, so how do I actually change my identity? How do I actually shift that? How do I become the person who has the love that I want? And so what I'm about to say is going to sound a lot simpler than it is, right? Because at its core, let me scoot up. I'm sitting on the floor. I'm far away from you. This is a little further than I realized. I'm reaching out and I'm still not touching the screen. But at its core, our identity is simply a system of all the beliefs we have about ourselves, right? And so a belief, you've probably heard this before, a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. It doesn't have to be real, right? Beliefs and facts are not the same thing. But what we believe is our actual programming on a subconscious level, because all of our beliefs, all of our emotions, our habits, all of that lives within our subconscious mind, which controls 95% of our lives. So discipline, willpower, all of that lives in the conscious mind, which only controls 5% of our lives. So anytime we make a conscious decision that contradicts our subconscious programming, the subconscious is going to win, but only 95% of the time. And that's what we actually call self-sabotage, when we consciously desire one thing, but the subconscious is designed to automatically deliver something else. So in order for us to shift that identity which exists at the subconscious level, what is often required is either A, to go directly to the subconscious to shift those things, and that's what I do as a hypnotherapist, or B, stick with the decision, the intentions that we make, hold space, don't allow ourselves to avoid the uncomfortable emotions that come up, to like stick it out until we get comfortable with the reality that that intention of ours determines we're gonna have. So in other words, if you say you want love, right? But you know that in order for you to have love, you're gonna have to let yourself heal that baggage from previous relationships. You're gonna have to allow yourself to face those emotions from your childhood wounds, right? You know that that's required because the person who has gotten the love you want has gotten through those blocks, right? Like, because you can't have the love and also have those same blocks at the same time if those blocks have been the thing that's been keeping you from love. So you got to let yourself through it. And so I see some questions here. Do you specialize in hypnotherapy too? Yeah, I am a hypnotherapist, relationship coach, and matchmaker. All three of the things together for the same purpose of helping gay singles master their romantic magic. So yes, for sure. The thing about changing your identity on that subconscious level. So we can do this intentionally, but most of us, you probably heard of like affirmations. Like the reason affirmations don't work for people is because they stop saying the affirmations to themselves way before it would actually become a program. Because if a belief is just a thought that we keep thinking, the way that it became a belief in the first place for a lot of us was because we kept affirming the belief that didn't serve us over and over and over and over and over again, right? We told ourselves once that we weren't worthy of love. We made that decision. My battery is low. Usually we make that decision before the age of like 5 or 7. We decided that for some reason we were unlovable, right? Then we don't realize that we keep reinforcing that belief with our own affirmations. Your self-talk, those are your affirmations. Whatever your self-talk is saying is what you are affirming on a subconscious level. Because again, your beliefs are in the subconscious. So you have to decide what you want to believe about yourself instead. And the number one belief that we all have to have in order to have love is that we are lovable just the way that we are. And so for a lot of us, it can be hard to tell ourselves that consistently if we also have all that other self-talk that's telling us we're not lovable, we're not good enough, we're dumb, we're unattractive, we don't make enough money, nobody will want us because of X, Y, Z, thus and so, right? All of that is your self-talk. And you ever heard the phrase to pray without ceasing? Your self-talk are your unceasing prayers, okay? All those things you're saying to yourself is what you're praying for. Those are your consistent intentions that you're reaffirming and reinforcing. And so if you find that it's really hard for you to do that on your own, right? Because you can do it on your own, but sometimes it can be really, really hard for us to do it on our own. That's when we want to reach out for help. That's when we would reach out to someone like me who's a hypnotherapist or relationship coach, right? That's when we would reach out to someone who can help us to intentionally shift those beliefs, shift that programming, heal those wounds, get through whatever challenges, roadblocks, love blocks we have that have been keeping us from having the love or anything else that we want, right? So y'all heard my battery was about to die, so I'll go ahead and wrap this up. But if that's something that you need help with, getting through that incessant self-talk that tells you you're not good enough for it, you're not lovable, that subconscious programming that keeps sabotaging your relationships, definitely reach out to me if you want help. Slide into those DMs, and you'll keep following too, because of course I'll be back with another video because this is what we do. But thanks for tuning in, y'all. I will see y'all on the next time. Love, peace, and glitter. Now let me go charge this iPad. Adios.